There's 10 minutes left in the exam, you're rushing through the questions, and you're thinking, if I just had a little more time, I could answer every single one of these correctly. The problem isn't your knowledge, it's your speed. How do you get faster at doing tests and exams? But speed isn't just about practicing more questions. Think about professional chess players for a moment. When they're in the endgame, their moves are lightning fast, not because they're supernatural quick thinkers, but because they've seen those same patterns so many times before. They're not thinking anymore, they're recognizing. This is exactly what you need to do with your exam preparation. But here's where most students go wrong. They practice the same types of questions over and over, hoping to get faster. Then they walk into the exam and freeze when they see a question that looks different from what they practice. Here's the reality. Most professors are not trying to trick you, but they are testing your ability to apply knowledge in new ways. They're going to take those practice problems you've been working on and add a twist. Your job is to anticipate those twists before you see them on the exam. Let me give you a concrete example. Let's say you're in a calculus class and you've done dozens of optimization problems about maximizing the volume of a box. You've got that down cold. But what if the exam question asks you to minimize the surface area instead? Same concept, slightly different application. This is exactly the kind of twist you need to be ready for. So how do you develop this anticipation skill? First, when you're doing practice problems, don't just solve them, dissect them. Ask yourself, what could be changed about this question? What if they asked for the minimum instead of the maximum? What if they added a constraint? What if they removed a given piece of information? Second, create your own variations of practice problems. Take every question you solve and try to modify it in some way. This isn't just about getting more practice, it's about training your brain to see the underlying patterns and possible variations. Third, and this is crucial, time yourself doing these variations. Speed comes from confidence, and confidence comes from knowing you can handle whatever twist they throw at you. When you walk into that exam room, you want to have seen not just the standard questions, but all their possible mutations. Remember, the goal isn't to predict exactly what will be on the exam. It's to be so comfortable with the material and its variations that nothing can throw you off your game. You want to be like those chess players, recognizing patterns instantly rather than having to think through everything from scratch. Here's another strategy. When you're reviewing past exams, don't just look at what was asked, look at what wasn't asked. Often there are concepts from your course that haven't appeared on recent exams. These are prime candidates for showing up on yours, especially with a twist. Now, I'm not saying you should stop doing your regular practice problems, but you need to add this layer of variation and anticipation to your preparation. Think of it like this. Regular practice builds your knowledge, but anticipation builds your speed. And don't wait until the week before your exam to start doing this. Make it part of your regular study routine. Every time you solve a problem, spend an extra minute thinking about how it could be modified. It's this kind of thinking that separates the students who finish exams comfortably from those who are always racing against the clock. Now, the other key to getting faster is simply to avoid wasting time during the exam. First, let's talk about the first sweep strategy. When you first get your exam, don't just dive into question 1. Take 60 seconds, yes, exactly 60 seconds, to sweep through the entire exam. But here's the key. You're not reading every question in detail. You're doing 3 specific things: checking how many marks each question is worth, noting which questions look familiar, and identifying any questions that make you think, what the heck is that? Why do this? Because one of the biggest time wasters in exams is getting stuck on a difficult question early and watching your confidence drain away with the clock. Your first sweep lets you create a game plan. You might realize that the question that's freaking you out is only worth 5% of your grade, while there are easier questions worth much more waiting on the next page. Now, here's something that might surprise you. A lot of students waste time by trying to be too perfect. They'll solve a problem, they'll check it again, they'll come back again to check it one more time. Reviewing your work is important, but you need a system. Here's what works. When you finish a question, give it one thorough check right then and there. Make it count. Then move on and don't look back unless you have some extra time at the end. Let's talk about another huge time waster, the maybe I'll remember trap. You know what I mean. You're not sure how to solve something, but you keep staring at it hoping the answer will magically pop into your head. Give yourself a strict time limit here. I recommend the 2-minute rule. If you haven't made any real progress on a question in 2 minutes, start it and move on. Your brain might actually figure it out while you're working on other problems. Here's something else I see all the time. Students starting to write before they fully thought out their approach. They'll write half a solution, realize it's wrong, cross it out, start again, and waste precious minutes in the process. Instead, force yourself to take 30 seconds before you start writing to plan your approach. Those 30 seconds will often save you 3 minutes of corrections later. The last strategy is about knowing your weaknesses. We all have certain types of problems that take us longer to solve. Maybe for you it's word problems, maybe it's proofs, whatever it is, be honest with yourself about it. When you see these questions during your first sweep, budget extra time for them. Do not fall into the trap of thinking, I'll be faster this time. Remember, the goal isn't to rush through your exam, it's to use your time efficiently. Every minute you save by avoiding these common time wasters is a minute you can spend actually solving problems.